So I want to draw your attention to this.
What's going on?
Dunkin' chocolate?
They have chocolate?
Listen.
Dunkin' has chocolate?
And I wouldn't even come on and do this except for the fact that we are a New England-based organization. And I don't go nowhere. You know, obviously New England, before America ran on Dunkin's, it was New England.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We've been running around like that. I wasn't even really into Dunkin's until Lexi started working for the company.
So you're the culprit.
Guilty. Sorry. I'm obsessed. I love Dunks. I'm a Dunks girl. They have chocolate? Like, this is insanity.
It was great because a couple weeks ago at band practice, of course, you weren't there, and Allison was there. And I was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We need coffee. And nobody knew what my nobody knew.
No one knew. You're the...
You hold all the keys.
Yeah.
And yes, and you know how resourceful Allison is. So she heads off to Dunkin' Donuts without taking everybody's order, comes back with the coffee. And I'm like,
yep.
Well, how did you figure out the Lexi recipe? And she was like, oh, I watched Road to the Swarm, and I went and I watched how Lexi makes the how she makes the coffee.
That's pretty genius. That is like really thinking on your feet.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, standing up. So I'm curious. You guys we'll have to try this at some point.
Yeah.
We're not endorsed or anything, although we really should be with the amount of donations that we've given.
We drink it every day.
It's the best brown water in New England.
Yeah, we drink it every day.
At this point, you guys should be like part owners of the company. Like,
yeah.
I've converted so many people to Dunkin'.
Funny story. My brother was the manager. Dog.
Get the fuck out of here! He was the manager of Dunkin' Donuts.
No, they ran the I ain't even lying.
Like all the Dunkins or just
no, like it was
just
like his
one.
store though. Like they had the store. Like I can't. I'll have to tell you after because it was an entire operation. It was great.
I need to
Jelly, frosting.
Why did he stop doing that?
I think he wanted to make more money. I didn't. She's like, I'll just take Dunkin'. Pay me in.
I'll take it from you.
Donuts.
Right.
And coffee.
Pay me in caffeine and
sugar.
Heavy metal.
You're right. This is perfect.
And then, of course, we've had other longtime Sepsiss staff members that have been Dunks people. So truth be told, I'm sure they're listening. No, we used to have, especially like in the city, we had like an official Sepsiss Dunkin's like headquarters. We didn't even pay for it, you know.
Was this the one he was the manager of?
We didn't pay for that either.
Get the fuck out of here!
Two free locations.
Fucking dope. Yes. I love it.
That's it. Show's over, everybody. Lexi's happy.
I'm sorry.
So this is our. This is the final show till
next year.
Until next year. This is the last show of the year.
It's the last show of the year.
This is the final show.
This is it.
What? We'll be here next year, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's the final show of the year.
Well, to be honest, we don't know if we'll be here next year yet. I think we'll be here.
May we be here? I vote yes.
Who you asking? Them? Put
Everyone.
a 1 in the chat if you want us to be here next year.
I'm asking everyone.
No, we'll be here.
Okay.
We could be. I mean, we'll be around for sure, and we're going to continue doing the podcast. Everybody that we've asked so far has recommended that we continue the podcast, which is great. You know what's confusing is I have tried my hardest, and so has Melissa. You have too, actually. We have tried to like poll people and ask like what do they want to talk about next, and nobody says anything.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I would take that as a sign of we're already picking the topics people want to hear.
I mean, now look, I'm not making fun of you for saying that, but I think that is very ambitious and rewarding. No? Maybe I'm just... This is weird coming from you because you're not usually the optimistic one. Usually I'm the one on this side of the table.
I like to
Spice it up.
Yeah, exactly. Change it up. New year, new me.
You Zach. You are the fucking best, man.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right. Melissa's back. Good, thank you, Melissa. So, welcome to the Honeycomb Hideout.
Yeah, I missed the whole first half. I'm sorry.
Well, not the first half of the show, just part of the introduction.
Yeah, that.
I was telling everybody, I'll catch you up to speed, that this is our final show of the year.
Of the year.
Right.
Look at you, see, she was like...
I was like, what?
like,
You had the same response.
That was that believable.
I'm so
Wow.
glad we're on the same page.
Like, no one... no.
Your face and the way you said it, though.
Like, you didn't get the email or anything.
Right.
Like,
Well, happy almost New Year, everybody. You know?
sure. Remember Y2K? Were you around for that? Of course not.
Y2K.
Remember Y2K? You guys are that young.
I was in
heard of
first
Y2K.
grade for Y2K.
You didn't teach about it?
I've heard of Y2K.
So Y2K was a massive conspiracy theory that on the year 2000, the entire world was going to end. All computer systems would shut down, and all the nukes that were on computer programs would self-launch and blow up the entire planet.
They thought the internet was going to crash because a new
I
year
thought-
came.
I thought
Yep.
you were referring to
No,
like
people were hysterical about this shit.
something else.
No, it was fucking crazy. I mean, it was just as crazy as the craziest thing you can see on the internet today. People
Yeah.
thought, because most jackhats hadn't figured out yet how to write extra zeros in the computer. So when they made computers, nobody ever decided to count that they were going to live to 40 years old.
Right.
Like everybody else, we're all guilty of it.
So you think now, like, when you sign and date something, you'll date it, like, today would be 12, 27, 23. Well, back then, they would sign, 12, 27, 98, 99. But they thought because
None of them-
99 is the end.
None of the machines could count past 9.
Yeah.
Zach Hans wants to know if that's a brand new Sepsiss shirt you're wearing.
It is.
He loves it.
Oh yeah.
It's vibrant.
This would be available.
It's got that old school. So we might as well talk about it.
Right?
Guys, the OG. This is the new jump, too. Boy, it is back by popular demand. So if everybody doesn't know, that is the original design. The original design is back this year.
It'll be available at
Love to
the
drink a little bit.
Yeah.
CT show in New Haven.
Yes, if anybody wants to pick, I know a lot of people have been wanting the originals to come back. The originals. We've had
This is the original.
that's the original.
This is the one that you want.
This is it.
This
you
is it.
asked.
And we're going to do it this year, and then we're going to take it away again. Like all great companies.
Enjoy while it
It's like
lasts.
the McRib.
I was
Gio said, wait, I'm an old G.
But I figured this would be a great episode to give my pep talk.
Yes.
You want to hear my pep talk?
Yes, please.
Melissa?
I sure do. Oh, I thought you were,
Well,
I thought you were
I'm
asking
all-
me.
I give all the band members the pep talk. But this is the pep talk. Because I've noticed like a lot of people this year, Lexi's touched on it before. I think some of us at home have felt this when we were all doing the lockdowns and the crazy the crazy stuff with that. It's just a certain type of mental health and wellness and internet fatigue that a lot of musicians are going through. Now, please understand me, because I know there's some people who are like, yes, Will, throw a punch at social media and tell them how disturbing and ugly it all has made society. But I don't want to disappoint anybody. If you are like in society and you're not on social media for business, or you're not writing books, or you're not a creative, or you don't have a restaurant, or if you're not doing something with social media to grow, if you're not adding value to your community or somehow building something on social media, this does not have anything to do with you.
Yay.
This, the average person that's at home on Instagram, you get what you get. If you're stressed out because you're on truth.com, well, then turn it off. If you're stressed out, you know what I mean, because, they're being mean to you on Instagram, then take a break. If you need, you know what I mean, if Facebook's got you in the dumps, then turn it the fuck off. Seriously. So this doesn't go down to the average consumer. Now, if you own a landscaping company, or you're a comedian, or you're a musician, or a radio host, then this goes out to you. I know it's been a difficult year for some people mentally, because if you are a landscaper, you never planned to live your life on Twitter. When you got into painting, or maybe you got a small website and you do crochet, right? Or you do sewing, or maybe you got into something just for the passion of it. Maybe you have a small bakery, or you're finishing up those last years of electives, or maybe it's not all to get rich or take over the world. You're not trying to conquer or rule anything. It's just something that you have that you're really passionate about. But maybe it's deeper than just being a hobbyist. Maybe it's the nucleus of your life, and it's bigger than money. Maybe it's something like Sepsiss. Maybe it's a band. Whatever your passion is, many of us never imagined in a million years that we'd have to drag our passions online. And when most of us started rapping or singing, or whatever landscaping company you started, or crocheting company, you never really thought you'd have to bring the farm, the practice, the therapy. You never thought you'd have to bring it on Instagram. You never thought you'd have to push and shove and wait in line and get through all the noise to spread news about your practice, to spread news about your painting company. You never thought that you'd have to spend hours and hours and hours on Facebook as a comedian. You thought you'd have to tell some jokes, do some traveling, save some gas money, invest yourself, sure. But as from an independent musician all the way up to massive national acts, none of us ever thought that we were going to be online this much. No one ever thought that we were going to be on social media as much as we are. And even the devices, originally, they weren't prepared to be a part of our lives in a way where every second of the day we could be notified or contacted. That's a relatively new idea. People talk about social media in terms of, Vine or even MySpace and go, all this stuff, it's been around forever. And but no, not in the current state that it's in. No, that happened during the 2 years that they were training all this technology. It's been accelerated. It's been amplified during the times that we've all been home training all this luxury, all this convenience. So yeah, it's a lot to unpack. But as we get to the end of the year, I just want everybody to take a breath. Just take a breath, because I know a lot of us didn't prepare to be online so much, let alone on social media. And when we first started social media, there was a social element to it. Mm-hmm. And now there's just a media element. Okay, so there was social, and then there was media. We were users, and now we're creators. You know? But when this technology came out, the devices didn't behave the same way. The devices were not prepared to behave the way that social media has interacted in our lives in the modern day sense. And we haven't had much time or training as a society to prepare ourselves socially to continue to communicate with each other in a healthy way. We haven't had time to grow and measure the entire effects, because the technology has gotten so powerful so quickly. At what time would we have had to slow down our biological lives and have time to sleep on it? At what time would we have had to take a breath? At what time would independent artists or self-employed people or entrepreneurs, people with student loans, folks trying to repair their lives and recover from medical, student, and other economic debt, at what time during this entire race, this arms race of technology, of knowledge, this hyper speed, hyper amplified experience that we're all going through, at what time would our biological selves been able to take a breath and measure all of this hyper data coming through into our lives? When we were battling wars and pandemics and racism? When we were going check to check? When? We've had nothing to do but train this science. Us being alive and using it, the only thing we've been allowed to do is train it. We've not been able to use it. We've only been allowed to train it and add data to it. We can put our companies on it. We can put our dog food, pictures of our kids on it, our credit cards, our bank systems, PayPals, and we do everything on social media like one big flea market.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying to everybody to take a breath, because our entire lives, moment to moment, is about how many people are watching, or how many metrics you have, or how many people like something, or how many people don't like something, and then comparing those metrics and measuring those analytics. And we all need to know about analytics and algorithms. And 15 years ago, I don't think anybody would have been familiar with the term.
No. Probably not.
No. So what I'm saying is, landscapers never had to worry about algorithms.
Right.
They just had to mow the fucking lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And now they do. Singers never had to really worry about, bandwidth, or how much, and how much time they planned on going live.
Does your phone have 5G plus?
Right.
Ultra.
If you were a band that was developed during the time that Linkin Park was developed, if you're Amy Lee, you don't need to go live every Sunday on Swarm TV. Yet. Mm-hmm. Because the music industry is changing. It's not just about music. I mean, fans are growing too, and all this time that we're spending on the internet, all this time that we as society and as, common day folk, everyone's learning how to edit videos. Everyone's learning how to create multimedia. Everyone now has the tools to shoot a music video like Amy Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted everybody to just take a break and take a breath, because I know how taxing being an entrepreneur or being self-made or trying to run a company, a paint company, a landscaping company. So I have a small piece that I'll read for y'all moving through, and then we'll get to our 2024 music and music industry predictions. You have to stick around for that. So, to all of you that have businesses, clubs, and trying to do something with your life on social media, try to avoid becoming discouraged, chasing followers, popularity, metrics, chart numbers, subscribers, and viewers. This mindset can fill you with sadness, leaving you with emptiness and urging you to compare your art, works, and abundance to other strangers and artists you cannot observe or measure yourself. This is like fool's gold. In this mindset and viral consumer bait, this is the stuff that artist poachers manufacture and amplify to swoop in on desperate wannabes. And 2024 is the year to break away from wannabes. So if you're an artist in all roots, in all fields and industry, if you're an artist, if you've got creative or original ideas, 2024 is for you. This is the year to break away from wannabes. This is a way to break away from the mold. Yeah. And we've told you guys before, winning awards and being popular, becoming viral, rich, or even talented, it just doesn't make happy people. All right? So just, having more followers and being on the charts temporarily, it's not going to make you a happier person inside. It's not going to make more people come out to your CD release party. Don't look at me like that. People still do CDs. Vinyl had a great year.
Good.
Looking successful or hosting an image that boasts manufactured success doesn't always translate into authentic ticket sales. All right? I'm going to keep it real. It doesn't translate into authentic ticket sales or real music fans that are actively searching and seeking your music online. I think that's another key takeaway. Looking like you're cute and famous doesn't translate into people on the dance floor. Looking famous online and looking great on a flyer, it doesn't maximize your wealth of knowledge. Doesn't strengthen your friendships. I know that's...
Ian said, "Thank you, brother. I needed that."
See, I appreciate you for saying that, because I wasn't going to read this until somebody told me today. Because sometimes everybody gets overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Because there's so many boxes to check throughout the week if you're taking this stuff seriously. And I wasn't going to read this if it wasn't for somebody coming up to me saying today, "Can you please fucking read that? Because I need it." That's why we keep doing this podcast, Melissa. Weeks will go by, and sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if anybody even likes this shit, or anybody, because it feels like sometimes that nobody's listening. And I go, I've got all this knowledge. I don't know what to do with it. It's my experience. I can't force feed anybody. I can only suggest. I can only make a recommendation from the next person to examine, That's why I'm always telling people to do their own homework, because it might be different for you. You might sign to a record label. People think I don't like record labels. No, I just don't like ours. You you just, what's wrong with signing a great deal? I didn't sign a great deal. That doesn't mean the next guy around the corner can sign a great deal. So I think when I talk about me signing a bad deal, I think that means everyone's going to sign a bad record deal. No. No, sign a record deal if it fits the description of what your goals are. And I digress. But clout chasing and temporary images of success are temporary.
Keyword, temporary.
Mm-hmm.
So great. You now look, and I said it before and I'll say it again. The mistakes that I talk about on this podcast are usually mistakes that I've grown from, and the reason why I'm presenting them here is because I've grown into a form that I have recovered, I can admit it, and I have dealt with my pain, and now I'm leaving it on the table for you to examine. That's speculation for you to draw the questions. However, I do want to say also that should not stop you or prevent you from taking risks on your own. You know what I'm saying? I think that when I talk about, I don't know, for example, pay to play, does that mean every musician, every artist from walk of life has no business paying for products to get themselves ahead? If you were a multi-millionaire, should you not buy the best guitars and the best promotion? Have at it. I'm not saying if you've got the money in the bank account and the budget for a new pair of shoes, buy a new pair of shoes. I'm just telling you, you can't wear 10 pairs of shoes at once. And we all wear different sizes. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. So try a few pairs before you say, what you're into. Anyway, clout chasing and temporary images of success do not develop into long-term success or longevity that fans can recognize or occupy the dance floor. So what? You played for a weekend on XM hard drive at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you filled your social media pages with 3 weeks of begging for rotation. They're not going to rotate bands that are paying for time. Here's a hint for everybody at home. Anytime somebody says to you that something is free, they're trying to take advantage of your lack of education. Did everybody just get what I just said? I don't give a fuck if it's your mom. If somebody says that it's free, they're taking advantage of the fact that you have not been educated on this shit yet. It's tough for people to hear, but 2024 is the year where you're going to break away from that and stop having people to take advantage of you. And 2024 is the year you're going to stop whining about it too. So, I urge you all to watch your backs. And remember that life is like ferry boats and making sure you get on the one that isn't singing. So many systems and games throughout history have depended on human beings to be desperate and lazy for their lack of knowledge in search of luxury, ignorance, and convenience. You hear me? So, we still very much live in a risk-taking casino-style environment in terms of social media. Because it's evolving. The tech industry is evolving. The music industry is evolving now with it. We used to talk about the music industry as if it was separate. And social media as if that was something separate. I think at one point the internet industry and e-commerce might have been a separate thing. But now it's not. It's strange how all of these things are kind of melting together. I had explained to somebody the other day that music didn't come from the internet. They were shocked. They thought that music was something that the internet made. I said, you do know. And I tried to explain to them that yes, computers and technology is so ingrained in our society now that the people that are being born, they think that that's where music comes from.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, no.
I'm telling you, I had to sit down and explain to people that music had been around before the internet. That's how powerful social media is that people think without the internet or social media, there's no such thing as music. Just like artists thought at one point, without the radio, you weren't a musician.
Oh,
if you didn't have a record label, you weren't a musician. If you see what I'm saying? If you're not on the big festival, you're not a musician. Whatever products aren't associated with the musician, put it this way, consumers trust the products so much more than the musician, that's who they recognize before the musician. They grow up now with Pepsi or Spotify, or in a few years, all they need is the image of the musician, not even the music.
We're going down a dangerous...
I'm trying to show you something. I'm just showing you that human beings will fight to the death over their iTunes instead of the artists that are on it. They have a relationship with the brands now, not the musicians, not the music. They think music comes from the internet because the future of music will.
Wow. Oh, no.
Because they won't be different. They won't be different by definition. Just the same way money changes. Just the same way. Think about it. Just the same way bartering behaviors. Here, you take a piece of meat, I'll hit you over the head. Okay, cool. Right? Then people traded rocks and jewels and stones and weapons. Right? Then they fashioned clothing, and then they traded jewelry and whatever else. Then they traded people, livestock. Then they fashioned gold medals and precious stones into coins with faces on it and emojis. They put emojis on the rocks, called them gods, traded them like Bitcoin. Then later on it became shillings and coins and tokens, and then later on after that, statues and monuments and land and real estate, right? Agriculture. Then they started trading people. Well, people are always been in trade. I feel like people are always in trade, but
still trading people,
right? And then they started cutting down trees and making money foldable.
Yeah, paper.
Made it weigh less, so they didn't have to bring big carts. They made it move around. It's all about how you're moving it around. They make it lighter and lighter and lighter. Now it's digital. It's light as a feather. How do you move the money around at light speed? What type of information travels at light speed?
Useless.
Useless information travels at light speed. Mm-hmm. How do you have a never-ending amount of money? You make it useless. No, but hear what I'm saying. And then they took gold coins. They said, man, give us all your gold. Once they realized how valuable gold was, they took all the gold. And they said, man, we'll trade you for emojis with pieces of paper, foldable pieces of paper with celebrities on it and politicians. We'll put celebrity faces on it. Now, why do they need people? They need to do that. The same reason. They need to trust in the brand. Mm-hmm. The money wasn't worth anything. The music wasn't worth anything. They built trust in the brand, in the liberty. And then after they had foldable piece of paper, they said, you know what, that didn't work. Let's everybody do checks, huh? Write me a check. We did checks for years and years. Then checks turned into credit. And credit and real estate and all of that. Bonds and stocks and now we're doing Bitcoin and whatever else we do. Whatever else has come next. Ethereum.
Debit.
But water. Ideas. What are we going to sell now?
Originality. Exclusivity.
Oh.
There's a big battle coming up between AI and copyright. Prepare for that. So, guys, I really did have to explain to my young friends the other day that the internet, sadly, did not make up music. They were devastated. I said, yep, it's really tough. Because that's bad news for people who think that music comes from the internet. Because now the responsibility of making good music goes back to people. You see, if the responsibility is in the internet, then the computer can tell you what is good music. If people think that music comes from the internet, then they will have their most popular brands and apps tell them what is good. If fans remember that music comes from musicians, then fans will learn from musicians about music and not from brands. But because consumers identify more with the brands and the musicians are too busy in the green room, the fans have more interactions with the labels and the managers and the brands. That's why for years, remember, all the fans of rock and roll and heavy metal, it mattered what label you were on. It didn't matter what kind of music you made.
It was about what label.
Now it's about, are you on Spotify? Are you on iTunes? If you're not real. If you're not at the festival, you're not real. There's at one point, if you weren't on CD, if you weren't on cassette, then you weren't a real musician. It's the same thing. So anytime that I need to sell something new in the music industry, I create a product that makes musicians not real anymore. And I convince everybody you're not a real musician until you own this, until you have a cell phone and you make music with this DAW and until you have a record label and if I can make enough people believe, and you know what I'm saying, if you're not in Loudwire, it's not a real release, right? Wrong. We should be asking like, hey, what does the music sound like? Not who are they fucking? But advertisers know the weakest people in our society care about this kind of shit. More than music. Because we've been taught to.
By advertisers.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? So, it's that whole thing. So, no, music doesn't come from the internet. All right. 2024 music predictions. Do you guys want to do some?
Yeah.
Sure.
Melissa, do you have any music predictions for 2024? I don't want to give mine yet.
AI takes over the world.
AI takes over the world. That's what Melissa says. And do you want to be any more descriptive than that?
It's going to basically take over music.
Melissa says AI is going to take over music. That's very strong language. I'll go with it. That's hers.
It's a guess.
What do you got going on? What do you think?
Musicians are going to step away from putting all their eggs in the Spotify basket and promote their music in other ways, not just Spotify streaming platforms. They're going to utilize like Patreons or secret Facebook groups.
Haven't the smart musicians been doing that though?
Well, there's some smart ones that haven't.
That's true. So you're saying more? You think more
people are going to step
artists are waking up
to this
to alternatives?
Yeah.
to the popular apps.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that because I have seen people been like, "Hey man, fuck that! I'm gonna go try out some Pandora."
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, artists upload their music and it goes to all these different vendors. I explain this a lot when people are trying to catch us and they're trying to catch us in a trap. They'll be like, "You guys are on Spotify." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." That's like saying you're on cassette. So, hear me out. Who thinks plastic is a good idea for the environment? Who thinks Spotify is a good idea for the environment? Right. So it's like saying you're not on CD. So CDs suck. Plastic's bad for the environment. You're not on Spotify. So what? Spotify's bad for the environment. You never heard if you told people before that were on CD, "Hey, your band is on a CD and plastic kills sea turtles." People wouldn't fucking argue with you. They're like, "No shit. It's terrible for people. Plastic is awful. It's a bad idea. We really need an alternative." If you tell people, "Hey, Spotify's terrible for sea turtles," for the environment, people will say, "I'm going to defend it to the death."
Crazy.
People will defend Spotify before they'll get rid of plastic.
It's crazy.
Hans thinks there's going to be a lot more AI music videos.
AI music videos. I'm going to go out on a limb here. He must mean AI effects.
Mm.
Or are you talking about straight generated
AI content.
Yeah, do you mean, I gotta get specific now. Hans, do you mean that you believe there will be more complete AI-generated content? Oh, I love the AI talk.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, what about you, Zach? What do you think? No pressure.
Effect.
I'm glad he said that.
Mm.
Because I was going to try to trick him. Because I'm always trying to trick Hans. But, it's just to keep him on his toes. I'm encouraging education. Now, look. I know a lot of people think AI is going to take over the world and stuff like that. That's part of fear-based creativity. I'm telling you it's fear-based because, unfortunately, there are people that are afraid of learning. But the issue with that is you'll have another group of people that are terrified to come online and even experiment with what it is before they're just naturally terrified of it. I can remember this with MySpace, Reverb Nation, and artists being too metal and too gangster to be on Facebook and then missing out on 15 years of fans. Don't be so gangster and metal that you don't wind up using the next tools that break your music career.
Mm.
Don't get caught up in the crowd and be so super metal that you never made it on Facebook and took advantage of monetization. You never put up a YouTube video and made a music video. Don't be so cool for the kitchen. You fucking starve to death, dude. Just go throw that, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's this hip kind of underground mentality that is really cool and it's edgy and it's interesting for the very small pockets of the internet. But my argument to that is, what are you still doing on the internet then? Why don't you go be a street performer? That's way edgier though.
For real.
Because then people still put you on the internet. You won't even have to worry about it.
Right. People do the work for you.
That's what I'm saying. You just figured that out now.
Boom.
Yes. Oh, you look like you were in lieu.
I'm not. I'm reading.
Okay. So here's my stuff here. I think that AI taking over is a little amplified because you guys didn't like Pixar more than you did Looney Tunes. It was just different. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like video games went 3D and you liked gaming more. You just always loved video games.
Yeah.
I love electric guitar. Oh, but I love acoustic too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But just because I can't plug it in doesn't make music suck.
No, it's two totally different worlds.
Right? It's still
Two completely
music,
different
guys.
instruments.
It's still music. So it's like, I don't... To me, I guess I'm layered intellectually where you can't take away my fun.
Mm.
Like, if I wind up liking AI, it's probably going to be for another layered reason. In combination with something else. I can't imagine myself being so terrified of it within the next couple decades. I mean, if we get to the next 50 years, if most of us live that long, we'll have new things on the horizon to worry about, like plastic and water. Based on the current...
I'm gonna say water over plastic.
Dude, based on the current effectiveness of generative AI, dude, AI sucks. I don't know if anybody else has gotten their hands dirty and gotten out there and played with this stuff on different levels of it, but you know me and Metaverse Melissa, we are all over this shit. Like, we are in this shit. As soon as we could use language-based models, we were in it. As soon as they released NFTs, we were in it. As soon as, you know, you could be monetized on Facebook, me and Melissa were in it. As soon as you can have, way before the kids were paying for their blue badges and paying for their identities, me and Melissa had blue badges on Google and Facebook before the kids even knew what it was. Well before you could fucking pay for it. I would never embarrass myself and pay social media for a blue badge for me to be myself. The day we pay for it to be ourselves is the day we get off the fucking internet.
Amen to that.
But I digress. Let's talk about it. I think that the image of success and people buying and selling the image of success, I think, has new challenges. And I think that social media is going to do a lot. I'm predicting this. Ready? I'm predicting that social media is going to not only allow, they're going to encourage and improve dummy accounts and meme accounts. But they're going to do it in an authentic way. Meaning people who want to make fan accounts are going to have a way to do that now where it is authentic also. People who want to have meme accounts, I mean, before you used to share a meme and get copyright strike. So you share somebody's song or do a watch party, you know what I mean, for fun, and they accuse you of trying to be a DJ. What's wrong? You know, so we've come a long way from having a live stream, walking through a department store, and then giving you copyright strikes. We were there for a year and a half. You know, you go live on the phone and somebody drives by you with Motley Crue, and they rip your page down. You know, and people going through stuff like that. What I'm saying is we're heading towards a time. Years ago, it was difficult. The relationship between music, musicians, and social media has never been quite clear. Has musicians been welcomed on social media? Have we been encouraged to go to other music-centric sites? Is Spotify a music site or is it a social thing? And I think that's where you're going to see streaming sites really lose, is the streaming sites like iTunes and Spotify aren't social enough. And the social sites aren't musical enough. And I think you're about to see
a crossover episode.
Yep, and social media has beaten streaming sites to it. Social media has beaten streaming sites in monetizing musicians. We get paid a lot more money from social media sites than we do from music streaming sites. when our music gets a lot more play on social media than it does anywhere else. Because now people use the music in their posts. People now use the music in their own content, in their own hula hoop videos and whatever, the different things that people got going on. That's how people are experiencing music now.
Mm-hmm.
Is the songs that are trending, or the songs that they see in that reel in the background when they're scrolling through? They're like, "Oh, what's this song?"
As I've said, that the industry itself is moving away from a music-centric industry. It's going away from an industry-centric industry. And it's going towards the fan and artist relationship, creator-centric industry. Where even the fucking coolest companies are going to realize, I need to back out of these relationships and let these things bubble. I need to create a place for people to make safe, reliable communities with people that authentically love music. Instead of having these big flea market, come one, come all groups where people go in there and shit on Paramore. They really were looking for places where people can love Paramore and share stories and memories and moments with their favorite bands, where they're not going to get torn apart. Where they're not, we've had enough fighting over politics and religion, and where people kind of want an internet now that when we first came on, we thought it was the library that we were all going to hang out in together. We tried it. We didn't like it. We don't like the internet being a place where we all kind of do yoga together. It gets nasty. We all don't want to look at our body parts. We figured it out. We all don't want to know what we're eating for dinner. Why do people still post their dinner? Nobody wants to see it. Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes about that specifically, about how they just don't want to see you post your dinner anymore.
Your children in a kiddie pool. Nobody wants it on social media.
That is so 2000.
Stop putting your underage kids on social media. You wouldn't put them behind the driver's seat.
Right.
You wouldn't put them behind the fucking seat of a car.
No.
If you wouldn't put your son or your daughter behind the wheel on the highway, then why would you put them on the information superhighway? When you know we're in an all-out fucking war for identity and information. Hello? Please, parents of the world, stop embarrassing yourself. Get your fucking kids off of social media. The idea of children spending time with other adults, strangers, in a play space. Children and adults spending adult time with adult topics in a play space. If you are a parent, and you know already that Spotify and iTunes and Netflix, for years, they've been collecting our data and collecting our photo albums. Get your nasty ass underage kids off the fucking internet for 2024. Holy shit! If there's one thing I could correct on the internet, it would be that. Wait till the child's brain has developed. You're stupid enough to be here. Don't make the kid as dumb as you. It's a birthright. It's your birthright. There's no social media for kids.
It's fucking weird.
Really?
Why do grown adults put their kids online? Stop doing it. Just stop it. Middle-aged people like us don't like it. It just never occurred to anybody. You know it's untasteful, so just stop doing it. Well, let me guess. Because everybody else does it.
That's the worst excuse in the world. Oh, I hate that.
Tell me one
excuse.
good reason. Tell me one good reason to have your family photo albums and barbecues and kiddie pools and bathing suits online. Why? Why? What is the value?
There isn't any.
If the internet is for information and education and businesses, and we have our money on here and our banks on here, and there's twerking and fucking foot fetishes and banks and shit, then what the fuck are we? Why would we be sharing a space like that with people that couldn't drive a vehicle? Shouldn't you?
That didn't occur to any?
I don't understand that.
For real.
I don't know. This is weird to me.
I mean,
With
like,
facial recognition, though, like, shouldn't, like, I would write, like, facial recognition, like, if you're not 16 years old, you shouldn't be able to use this shit. Keep it real. For real. Just because of the amount of criminals and sexual criminals that are on the internet.
Yeah.
You can't blame them. The entire world is on the internet now. So when these guys get out of prison, you got to understand, that's how they fill out their applications,
Right.
to go to work.
like, I think when social media started, it made sense, like, when
When they-
people were
Go ahead.
like, posting their family and dinner, because kids weren't allowed on those sites.
That's what I was trying to say. When
So
we
it
first
was-
made the internet, no one ever thought that, like, convicted rapists would be searching for work online.
Right.
When we first made the internet, musicians never thought they were going to have to go live and do podcasts. This
Right.
is not the internet that we all were told we were going to be using. That's the point I'm trying to make. This isn't the Spotify. This is not the Facebook we all remember. No, if you would have said 50 years ago, we're going to create a social space where we're all going to be creators. We're all going to be like gods, naked gods. And we're all going to be like naked God creators in the likeness of God himself. And we're going to be on what's wrong? We're going to create a play space where there's businesses and religions and clubs and fucking guns and twerking. Why not? And it's going to be a social space where we all get to mouth off our adult ideas and adult content at will at any fucking time. Anyone can make a page at any moment and call themselves the fucking Pope. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm a DJ, I'm a fucking firefighter, I'm a fucking guitar player, I'm a podcaster. If I wake up and say it on the internet, it's got to be real. If I'm 12, I can be 55. If I'm 55, I can be 12. We all share the same space. We all share the same currency. We all share the same toothbrush. If I'd have told you that 50 years ago, that we were all going to be online in a place where we all could publicly view pictures of our family, you'd tell me I was fucking insane.
50 years ago, they'd burn you at the stake for something like that.
If I told you there was going to be a place where every person in the world that would never meet your children, you can hang out with them 24 hours a day in this play space where you can share ideas, share music and images, you tell me it's a bad idea.
Horrible idea.
So then why do people take pictures of their half-naked kids and put them on social media? Why? Why do they do it? Why do parents think that's cute?
They're not thinking.
And that's what the problem with social. That is the desperate gap that app developers are looking for. People that aren't thinking. Do you see what Zach just said?
People that impulsively post.
People don't. If you posted your dinner, I'm sorry. Joke's on you. It's 2024. Stop doing it.
That's so 2010.
We've seen enough pictures of rice.
It's okay when Instagram first came out.
Right.
It's now been out for 15 years.
Right.
Stop it. We get it. You like quinoa.
We've seen everybody's crotch. We've seen homeless people fight. We've heard that. Are we done?
Well, on the other end of that, if someone's posting their dinner all the time, just unfollow them.
Right. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Like, you can post your dinner all you want. I'm just not going to follow you.
That's it.
Right.
But don't be complaining when people don't want to pay attention, because that's what everybody's upset about. Not having enough views and not having enough attention, not having enough sympathy when people post rice. Oh my God, everybody's mad at me because they didn't like my picture with rice. Cuz you've been posting rice since 2010.
We get it. You like it. Stop telling
Right?
us.
Post some noodles.
When people talk about the internet or social media, they complain about it as if it is making them post that garbage. So they'll post some shit and be like, I can't stand this shit.
Media can't media to you.
Right, you can't stop. Right, so on the double barrel, sure, you can post as much rice. Post as much rice as you want. Just know there's consequences for it.
And it's not just social media where you gotta watch where you're posting shit. You know, like those bumper stickers that like are on the back of people's cars, where it's like, oh, my kid's an honor student at the Fancher Elementary School. It's like, well, now I know you have a kid that's gonna be there.
Right, that's another thing. Like,
So
we also, nobody was prepared for a world. Nobody was prepared for a world where everyone was walking around with fucking snitch boxes. Mm-hmm. You get one wrong fucking move and you're on Instagram.
They make that face too.
Dog. I'm serious.
I gotta record
You don't know if somebody's reaching. You don't know what people
That
are
was
reaching
always
for.
my face. If you're gonna record me, I'm gonna record you back.
This shit is crazy. Spectator mode. It's like,
I've had a lot of lemonade.
it's like, wow, that's like a heavy recording hand you got there. There's like awards for like the fastest thumb.
Who can record the best?
Sometimes it's like that. No, because that's how the apps got everybody now. Well, you're waiting for your next viral moment.
Yeah, and then whoever like posts like all of their like screenshots of the battle of texting each other when they're in a fight. I had those screenshots. I had the receipts.
Well, it's like everybody wants to go viral. It's like, it's not hard to go viral. Just throw yourself down the stairs.
Right?
When people are like, oh, how do you guys... Like the guy that asked me the other day, he goes, how do you guys get so many views on the stuff? I said, man, you can't get worried about stuff like that. I said, don't worry about them views. I said, why? What are you trying to do? Go viral or something? He goes, yeah, I want to go viral. I said, just throw yourself down the steps. I said, listen, go find big steps. I said, put the phone at the end of it. I said, and throw yourself down the steps.
Or
He goes, that's funny. I said, I'm not kidding.
Punch yourself in the face.
I said, do you want to go viral or do you want to get... Because my point is, do you want to be known for something, a good contribution? Do you want to make friends? Or do you want to go viral? If you want to go viral, go stand out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
stand in a blizzard.
Right. Stand naked in a blizzard. You'll go viral. You know what I mean? Or somebody will call the police. But something will happen to you.
Just get that part on film.
Right. When the police show up, you'll go viral. Mm-hmm. And then that'll be the end of it. I mean, people just think that going viral is good. Remember that guy that got hit in the face with a Twisted Tea can? He went viral. Remember that guy?
Oh, the racist guy who said the N-word a bunch?
He went viral. That's not good. Well, remember that guy? Remember the devil lady? They go in Walmart and tell everybody, motherfucker? She went viral. Right? That's not good. Not everything that goes viral is good. Remember Hans? When he was jumping on the trampoline and he smacked his face off the ground? Hundreds and thousands of views. That's not good.
Ever. Best reel ever. Another good reel that I also loved was the bowling ramen noodles.
Right.
Bowling ramen noodles?
Oh, yeah.
We were bored during the pandemic.
It went viral, too.
Yeah, we had bowling with ramen. Like, we set up, like...
It was our first reel.
Huh.
Yeah, it was new. We were like, hey, we wanted to figure... Basically, we were just testing it. We didn't know what reels were.
Yeah.
And we refused to TikTok. We swore we'd never do it like everybody else and lied.
Then we got bored one day and we had a whole stockage of soup. And we decided to...
That's all we had.
Put them in a nice array. Like a nice little
We were
triangle.
at the end of our rope.
And we used another soup can as the bowling ball.
Yeah, like that.
You can still watch it. I think it's still up, right?
Geo says
I don't know.
the internet has created and rewarded an entire generation, now approaching 2 generations of users that define success by how viral they get.
No, but that's what I'm telling you. I mean that to me, that was just spoken so eloquently because it really takes form and what I'm trying to point out here and why I've made some of these predictions. And there's some good news to that though. I think knowing that and the idea that video knows that, him having that conversation is the landmark of hope that I was talking about last week. See, we're having conversations about it. And that is a clear sign that we're not the only ones that know it's important. So there might be a majority of people out here that watch this program or like, this is nonsense. You know what I mean? But there will be a small amount of people that are comprehensive to what we're doing here every week. And we will be adding and contributing and blockchaining and using this technology in a way that will stand out. Prediction next year will be creator-centric. You're going to hear a lot more world music. I think next year we're going to be getting away, and I do mean the world. I think the world is going to be getting away from music in the United States. I think that the idea that United States music reigns superior and that we are the top value in the market, I think that's going to change this year. I think that this is the first year that artists that are not from America are going to penetrate. I think that American people are tired of Americanisms. I think American people, true lovers of music, I think are ready for music that isn't American. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot more music that isn't washed out with American production. I think you're going to hear real voices, real percussion. I think you're going to start seeing pockets and groups of people getting away from highly produced, overproduced, saturated. I think, and here's the cool part. I think on the flip side of that, I think you'll see a rise in AI and digital music. So people say AI everything. Yes, but with the rise of people using AI, you get different kind of people. You get people who are using AI to generate complete projects. Those are different than people who are using AI as a tool to generate real projects, which are different than the people who are using AI to test real projects. See, a lot of people don't know we use AI in Sepsiss a lot, but we use AI in something different, not really content creation. But we do use AI as a place to measure ideas. We do use AI as a place to do math. We do use AI as a place to test business models. So, people tend to think of AI as, how can I generate some boobs? Or how can I generate an image? Or how can I make, a wolf howl at the moon? But you guys got to understand, that's very user-based. And a lot of those companies, when you're pointing and clicking on those AI sites, those are just training grounds that the companies have set up as dashboards for you to train their technology. Once you're done training it, they're going to kick you out the door and charge you a subscription for it. I hope you understand that. So, as we go into 2024, I don't think AI is going to rewrite music in the same way that I don't think Pixar or 3D video gaming didn't get rid of 2D gaming. Text messaging didn't get rid of phone calls.
Yeah, people make more phone calls now.
To be
People
real
actually
with you,
hate texting.
well, I'm gonna tell you what it did. It made phone calls valuable.
Yeah, that's why AI is going to make original music valuable.
Valuable.
True that.
So, creator-centric. You're going to hear world music. I think you're going to hear new instruments. I think you're going to hear the combination of guitars.
Mixed with a handpan?
Maybe. But I think you're going to hear a lot more virtual instruments. I think you're going to hear new instruments being made. Like you'll be able to put on virtual reality and play instruments that people imagine in their minds.
You can play the moon.
For instance, you won't just play music.
You'll experience it.
You'll be in it.
You'll be
The
in
same,
music?
yes, the same way that you experience like guitar or rock band or stuff like that, or Beat Saber. Music won't be just a thing that musicians do. It's going to be a thing that people do.
It's an experience.
It's because
It's going to give them a feeling.
that's the only way people like music, Lexi.
But it's going to be a physical feeling.
Yes. The only music that people really like, the only artists that people really like are the artists that they feel something about. People love music and then forget about the music. People will love a song. You play them a song and go, oh my God, it's fucking killer. They'll never want to listen to it again. Because they can't associate with the artist. They don't have... And this is why AI won't take over human creativity. Because you won't have a chance to meet your AI.
Right.
You have a chance to meet a real artist.
Mm-hmm.
You have a chance, it might be one in a lifetime chance. But, if people that love Sepsiss get a chance to see us one time, they're going to buy that ticket because
It could be their only chance.
it could be their only chance. So, yeah. Another thing I think will change is streaming leading the pack. I think streaming is here to stay for a long time, just like vinyl or cassettes or whatever. I think streaming will always be. And like I said, I think streaming will change. I think that places like Spotify, I think have gotten enough, and I'm using them, but Apple too. I think they've gotten enough. I think YouTube has gotten enough out of their music subscription based. Subscription prices on Spotify are about to go up again. They're about to raise prices again for subscriptions before too long. There's only so long they can keep.
I was gonna say, didn't they just raise them like
gotta do
2
it.
months ago?
They have to do it again, especially in countries like France and I think Switzerland too, but France for sure, because they have their new streaming taxes.
Oh.
So now the IRS, artists are already having a tough enough time as it is, but now naturally the IRS wants their cut.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
they're now because streaming has done so well for guys like Dan Eck,
They want us-
that his country wants a tax.
Huh.
He threatened to move out if they do it. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
That's in his own country. He threatened to move out if they
Tax him as they should.
if they hold him accountable to a certain
Oh.
level. He plans on walking from the country, bringing Spotify to a different country. But the whole point I'm trying to make is I think you're going to see companies like that, like Deezer. I think you're going to see companies like that focus more on world music. If you want me to read between the lines, I think they, and this is a prediction, I think they plan on taking advantage of dumber people. I think they've taken, I think they've taken enough. I think they've taken advantage of as many people that they can here without us having the conversation. So when Video points it out, I say people are hip to this stuff. 2 years ago when we first started talking about this stuff, nobody knew what we were talking about.
Now people are starting to catch on.
Shane asks, do you think the virtual concerts are going to become a more common thing?
I do.
Mm.
I do. I do think virtual, and in fact I know that they are because of the companies that are buying up the assets. So right now, everything's acquisitional. All the biggest companies are buying what's left from all the streaming platforms that failed during the pandemic. All that technology and all of those sources are still, being dismantled, and all those assets are being distributed and acquired and picked up. But yeah, absolutely. Live streaming is, the more we get closer to not so much VR, But soon your phones will become part of the concert series. You're starting to see devices being worn on the head and on sunglasses, and of course Apple Watch and different stuff.
Yep.
Everything from buying your ticket to watching the concert respectfully in the future. You'll be able to respectfully watch concerts because you're going to have your glasses and you're not going to be staring at your phone. Concerts in the future, you'll be able to watch them respectfully with your head up. And you'll be able to record all of it, everything you see. Because now your recordings will have a unique concert experience inside each of you.
I'd actually be way more interested
I got the...
viewing concerts like from that kind of looking stuff.
And you can broadcast them too.
Right.
And companies will pay you the revenue, and you'll be able to do business, and you'll be able to upload it to your TikTok, and they'll pay you for the best video. It's going to be artist-centric, creator-centric. What you're
Getting rid of the middleman.
getting rid of the fucking assholes.
That was one of my predictions too for 2024 is people stepping away from the middleman, mostly talking in terms of live concerts, but it also feeds into this too.
Yes, so
Getting rid
yes,
of the middleman.
it does because the biggest, smartest companies know what Gio said, that regular people are waking up knowing there's too many human supervisors with their hands in the cookie jar. Mm-hmm. Even the regular kid that subscribes to Amazon Music now knows about algorithms and metrics and follows and fake streams. You know what I mean? Melissa's mom knows about fake streams. You know what I mean? When you got people like our parents to people like my children, we all have a clear understanding of people fronting on the internet and clout chasing. We've all had generations of people bullshitting. We've had, and not to mention, we've had years with jukeboxes. We saw what happened in the 50s with rock and roll. We saw what happened with Milli Vanilli. We saw seeing what's happening with the 90s rappers and what they're going through now with all the sex scandals and all the record labels. We saw what happened to the guys in the hair bands. We saw what happened with Metallica and Napster. We have generations of people who know fucking better now. That's why we come on here and tell everybody there's no excuse. I don't need to explain anybody. I don't need to give anybody an explanation why we come on here and talk about this stuff. We've all been groomed and trained on the fucking technology. And what happens when the music goes off of the phone? What then? What's going to tell you what's good? Who's going to tell you who to date? Who's going to tell you who your favorite artists are? Who's going to tell you where to go to apply? Who's going to tell you what the trends are? Because you guys are convinced that music comes from the internet. So the day they take music off the phone, you guys aren't going to even believe music exists.
Nor are they going to look for it and search
Right.
for it.
They keep by the time I'm trying to tell you something. They put enough Bibles on the phone. Once they get rid of the phone, they won't know what happened to God. Where'd he go? He's on the phone. Where's it? Turn it back on. No, but in the future, the phone is becoming part of the live experience. The phone is not going to be a physical thing. It's going to be a part of your body. Don't start with me, because I said this back in the early 90s. I said everyone's going to have a cell phone, and everybody laughed at me. And I said everyone's going to have a computer in their home, and everybody laughed at me. And I'm telling you again, I told you what was going to happen with Blue Ridge, didn't I? And I told you what was going to happen with Spotify, didn't I? I told you. That's why we're doing the predictions again. Go back in all the other episodes and see the stuff that I predicted. I'm not like a shaman or anything. I just read a lot. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I told y'all. I mean, I told people years ago, I said we're going to play video games on the cell phones. And everybody thought I was crazy.
Now everyone plays video games on the cell phone.
Right. So if you're in a band, right, and you send your demo to a greedy little record A&R director, and he listens to your mix on an old Samsung, he's going to say you're a bad musician. Because people think that music is inside the phone. So people say your band is good or bad based on whatever they listen to the music on. So if somebody first hears of your music on a bad cell phone, they'll think you're a bad musician because people are convinced that music exists online. They think it's something that they think that the internet made music. And when you try to tell them that human beings make music, they'll become confused. And they'll say, well, how do you know what's good? Somebody told me the other day about good music. I said, how do you know what's good? He said, the internet. He said, some chart system. I said, good. I said, don't your ears tell you if music's good?
You need a middleman to tell you what's good?
See, that's what y'all problem is that these devices and supervisors and gadgets all act as your middleman to the happiness in your life.
You need someone to tell you what's good instead of just going out and figuring out
You need a manager,
what's good?
you need a label, you need a whole bunch of people to stand between you and your fans and tell you how good your music is.
Wait, in between the fans?
It's crazy. I thought just playing music and having fans like it was good enough.
They need a middleman?
Streaming leading the pack is going to change. Streaming's going to be here, but streaming's going to change and can't lead the pack in the music industry anymore because streaming can't lead the pack in the way we're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
We're going to start getting paid differently for things, guys. We're not going to get paid on the phone forever. Just like we didn't watch movies on the big screen forever. We're not going to make calls on the little screen forever. I said years ago we'd all have cell phones, and I also said, and then we won't. This cell phone thing is only a short period in our lives. So when people ask me how I feel about cell phones and the live performance experience, I think it's temporary. And I think that the longer we have cell phones and gadgets, I think they'll become part of the way that artists connect deeper with their fans, removing middlemen. That way, when artists have when our fans have a question about the shows, they can call us right up. They don't have to go through our record label. They don't have to go through a whole bunch of managers and middlemen. If our music is missing or they have a question about a concert, they can send us an email, and it's up to the artist to get back to people. Somebody said to me the other day, they were like, yeah, Will, if somebody doesn't contact you in an email, it isn't professional. And I've heard that before. Like when we first started to get into the music industry, I can't tell you how many people, before they slammed the door in our face, I can't tell you how many people have told me or made the excuse it isn't professional to contact somebody other than through an email or a professional email. And my response to that was, if you're using Gmail, that's not a professional email.
How else are you gonna get an email?
But the point I'm trying to make is we've gone through this process, okay, at some point of everybody sitting around and pretending like we agreed that the only professional way to talk with each other is through the means of email.
I was going to say, yeah, who decided that?
And my response to that is Gmail is not a professional email. Most professional emails are generated by people that have websites that are connected to those emails, like Sepsiss.com. So the idea that we should all use a third party and that's going to be this professional place is ridiculous. The idea that we can use Gmail but we can't use Messenger because social media isn't professional. Well, joke's on you. Because now look,
Messenger's popular business.
But what we used to think wasn't professional. I had metal bands try their hardest to convince me and Melissa how unprofessional we were being on social media. When we first started this out, we had, especially here in New England, how many people were riding us for promoting our music and being on social media. How unmetal and unprofessional. That's not what professionals do, and professional bands don't use or need social media, just the music enough. That's how it was, and you're seeing that same sort of stuff now.
I was going to say, how many of those bands are still around?
None. Unless they've evolved. Most of those guys, when I see them around now in the venue, they hide in the back and avoid me. They do. Because they don't want to have the conversations we have here on the podcast, and I don't either. The internet doesn't make music. Yeah. So, as of right now, Melissa, most people don't know this, but as of right now, this could change. But as of right now, we still have the permission to like things. Yeah, that's right. Like, it's odd, but as it stands right now with our species in humanity, there's a still small gap where we are allowed to like things without the permission of our gadgets. Okay? So let's all take advantage of this very small time that we have left in humanity and like things because we like it. I know it's a crazy concept, but music doesn't come from the internet. Music wasn't made for social media. It wasn't made for follows. It wasn't made for clout or scaring people or power. All right? And we have a very small window left. I'm not sure how long it's going to last. But at this very time, we have a very small window where us as a species, as human beings, I'm telling you, I fucking pity, pretty, pinky, please promise that you guys are allowed to like stuff without being told or recommended that you like it.
My dad said it's in the blood.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's true. It's really true. You guys can like whatever music you want to. You guys can learn about things without the permission of an app. You don't need a trend. You don't need a group or a club, huh? You don't need a fancy organization to tell you how rock and roll you are. Just like what you like and just be yourself. 2024 is the year that we all remember. Don't worry about what's always going on across the pond. Just be yourself. And remember that music has been around before the internet. Music has been enjoyed and loved by human beings before social media. Math and music were around before human beings. Music was around before people. You can't really make it. You can only just be with it. You can't have music. You don't own it. You can only make it and give it away. You get what I'm saying?
Steve says you're spot on with this.
You can only, it's like a home cooked meal. You could slave over a hot stove and you could be playing the cello and the fiddle and doing the mix to 4 o'clock in the morning. You're up fucking making the shit. And why? You pour all your love into it. You pour all the nourishment. You put all the ingredients. You did all the research. You stayed up all night, head covered in flour. You know? And you played all the riffs. You sung all the notes. You turned all the stones. You checked all the boxes, right? And before it went out, before you delivered it to the world, you asked everybody, you peer reviewed. You had them taste. You did the taste check. You had people come by the stove and you let everybody get a sample of it before it was done. Right? Everybody was excited about it, and you fed the whole house, man. And it's nourishing and satisfying, and there's all this culture and fulfillment. Why? Because you got to use all of your senses. The feeling and the tasting and the smelling and the touching and the doing. It's the doing. And when everything's synthetic and everything's digital, we don't get all the doing. Just be yourself. It's the doing that does. What do we got? Oh my goodness, we only got a little bit of time left, Lex.
Yeah. We do.
So I was talking about this, and I hate to do it to y'all. So I was talking about this social media for minors thing. The only reason why I'm covering it is because it's one of the first subjects that we covered early in the season. And I was saying, I hope that they come up with a way to identify. I mean, all kids are different. Like some 14-year-olds can play GTA and then some will shoot you. You know? So not all minds, not all brains can deal with the same subject matter. Okay? Let's face it. Some adult content. Look, what's her name? What's that name? What's that girl named? Silly Eilish? What's her name?
Billie Eilish?
Billie Irish. Whatever her name is. Think about her. You know, she said she was tormented because she watched porn all her life. I was like, honey, why didn't you turn it the fuck off? But the point I'm trying to make is some people watch porn and they're tormented. Other people watch porn and they're happy about it. What's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. And one in the hand isn't always worth two in the bush. I didn't mean for it to come out like that.
But it came out. That's what she said. We're on a roll now. Woo! 2 for 2.
That was good. But you guys know what I meant.
Yeah. We did.
So, in the first part of the season, I just had come up with a great idea. Like I do that. But I come up with a great idea, and I was talking about how dangerous I thought it was that all these adults just blindly, with no system, we just have like underage people online with like bigger and better transactions and business moves than their parents. All I just wanted to say is if we're going to rush to adulthood, that we should have a system for it. That's all I'm saying. If we're going to accelerate past biology, we've all agreed the human brain, for some of us, doesn't even stop developing well into our late 20s or 30s. To me, that says a developing brain is a work in progress. What else is a work in progress? Technology, social media. So all these things are in work in progress. How do we ever slow anything down and see how it's affecting a growing brain? And where do we take the reference from? MySpace? This is not the same internet. Bro, you couldn't put your bank account on MySpace.
God, no.
And I mean, it wasn't popular to kill people on the internet either at that time.
No, I don't think that came around till Call of Duty.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So there was a major report today. They have declined to recommending banning for social media for youth.
Wait.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So remember in the beginning, I was like, there are all these laws, and there were all these lawmakers in the beginning of the summer. I was telling you guys on this very program. I said, hey, I'm really glad that they're finally. Cause I got a young child out there. You know what she said to me the other day? She said she's concerned. She said she's concerned about the future of humanity. That's what my daughter said. Why should an 8-year-old be concerned about the future of humanity? Not that I don't think that she's brilliant. I think that's a very smart thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell her about the future of humanity. She's
Right.
genuinely concerned based on
Everything going around.
right. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an outrageous question. I don't think it's an outrageous concern. So I had said, I wish there were safer places because the internet is so big and we go on the internet for everything. I said I wish there were safer places for kids to spend time with each other without adults. A place where young people can share their ideas without the interference or adult content, without the interference of adult content. Why are there's like limited places online for people under 16 where they can go that there is not adult content? Let's face it, like horror movies, some kids can handle horror movies, some can't, bro. Mm-hmm. Some kids, look at that Billie Irish girl. She never developed her brain because she saw a porno. Poor thing. I'm not laughing. She's laughing though. She's like,
it's developed now. Hey, she started wearing oversized clothing, so to me, like.
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. Well, that's what I. Okay, but that is a very good example of when we see things in our childlike imaginations. Sometimes what we think we see adults doing, we don't understand fully. What looks like a dominatrix scene looks violent to a child. What looks at going some kids sit some kids down in front of The Exorcist, the original too.
Oh my gosh!
I want to see you stick an 8-year-old in front of the original Exorcist. If they're smiling, put them in prison.
Especially if they're smiling after
Right,
Reagan's face.
Right, call the police.
That's really when you should put them
Right,
somewhere.
call the priest.
If they can make it through Reagan's face,
Right.
let me know.
Right, call the SWAT team, the priest, Chuck E. Cheese,
And then
anybody you got on your Rolodex.
And then call me.
Then call Lexi.
Rolodex. Wow, that's retro.
Sound fitting. I've always wanted to say that. My Rolodex.
Oh my god.
You don't even know what that is. I don't even really know what it is.
You don't know what a Rolodex is?
It's an index, but it rolls.
Yeah, it's like that thing that you see in the old-timey offices that, you
My mother had
through.
one.
Yeah.
My mom had a Rolodex.
Yeah, you spin it around you put all your contacts in.
And when you want it to sound fancy, you say, oh, hold on. Gene, can you bring in my Rolodex?
That's so cool.
And you go through your Rolodex and you're fancy. Hold on, let me look in my Rolodex because I'm important. It's like now, it's like, hold on, let me check my contacts.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's so
Hold on.
boring.
Yeah, it's boring because nobody's called you in 9 months. Back then, people called people.
All the
Yeah, there were
time.
no text messages. There
Right.
were no emails.
They had a Rolodex.
Closest thing to a text was a fax.
Oh,
Facts.
love it.
Han said, "Bring me my Palm Pilot."
Oh, now that's retro.
No, that is retro.
What's a Palm Pilot?
Well,
The earliest form of a smartphone.
yeah. It was like
I
a...
thought you were going to say a pager.
No, it
Don't
was-
make fun of pages. I had a pager.
It was,
Of course, I was too young
a device
for
that
it.
was shaped just like this, and you had that little stylus pen. You
I had a
Oh,
pager.
that's
'cause
fancy.
stuff in- yeah.
That's
would-
fancy.
I was a rapper, so I had a pager.
You had a pager?
All
That's
rappers had
fancy.
pages. All rappers. I had a cell phone and a pager.
a blooper.
I had a blooper.
Whatever.
What?
Of course.
You had all the
I was
cool
a rapper.
stuff.
I had a chain. And a gun.
Did you have a Rolodex?
Huh?
A Rolodex?
I had all the stuff that rappers had. I didn't have a Rolodex.
He didn't have a Rolodex. He had a Rolex.
Yeah, it was fake. But I had one. You remember my Rolex?
Gio and Steve say that they both still have the Rolodex.
Take a picture and send it to Lexi.
Send it to me now! Send it to me now! Please,
When
thank
did
you.
Need to do it.
Now, please, thank you so much.
And yeah, so there was going to be these people meeting with lawmakers to discuss details on generating some language around protecting young, developing minds while sharing spaces with convicted pedophiles and felons online. Let me just keep it real. On social media, do you guys know that there are felons on social media?
Yeah.
Okay, I am a felon. In the United States, I'm a felon. Class A felony. I went to state prison. I'm on social media as a public figure. I'm not saying that everybody that comes on social media don't have a past, or people don't have things that they've gone through, that they've grown from, or that they don't have skeletons or issues. Or we all have a story, all right? I'm not bringing up another courtroom here, but I'm using myself as a sensitive example to show you guys and put the conversation on the table that, do you think everyone is going to be as honest with you as I am right now? Do you think everyone's going to come to you and say, hey, I've done some time in the prison, but you guys know me, right? So if I say, hey, you guys know Will, I've been going live and putting my life online for 10 years. So you guys know about I used to be an alcoholic. You guys knew I grew up in YDC and juvenile halls. You guys know I'm adopted. You guys know I went to prison. You guys know a lot of shit about me online. That's because I've been online for 15 years. Is everyone going to be as honest as I am coming on here?
No.
Probably not.
Is everyone going to sit down and talk with you about their past and open up their past and open up their personal life the way that me and Melissa have?
Probably not.
Me and Melissa have opened up our entire personal lives for people to view for the last 15 years online. Is everybody doing that?
No.
No. The most people that are online are fucking hiding.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes it okay for me to come on and talk about all this stuff is the fact that I'm coming on talking about it and that it can be challenged. You can go look into my past. You can go read newspapers, articles about me. You can go look at the band. You can speculate. You can challenge the things that I've said and the things that I've done. That's what makes this great. That's what makes it authentic. That's what makes it real. Is everybody keeping it real online?
No.
Probably not.
Right. Most people aren't coming online to settle their issues because they know it's not realistic.
No, they're going online to make drama.
You're going online for attention. But most of the people that are online won't admit that they're online for attention. There's two reasons to come online. Are you ready for it? Entertainment and attention. Pick one.
I usually do both.
Right. Well, we do. But you know the thing the obvious thing that you just pointed out is you can put it into words why you're here.
Yeah.
A lot of people at home can't. They can't write it down. We've got fucking files and reasons why we're here.
They don't.
They don't, bro.
They don't know why.
They don't know what they're doing here. They don't know why their kids are on here. That's why we keep talking about this shit.
They don't know why they even have it.
They don't know how they got here.
Oh, see, the only reason I'm on social media is because of the band.
Me too. And it's gonna break people in half. Not really. But one day we won't be here. The day that we're not doing this band, we're gone. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people ever know that. The day there is no Sepsiss, the day that we are not on social media ever again, the only reason we're on social media is because of this band.
Mm-hmm.
Only reason.
So why are you on it? Do
you know why?
Do you know why you're on it?
Do you remember
Do you remember why you even got on it in the first place?
Do you remember why you made an account?
Because the same reason that we made an account, we're still doing it.
And most people that make accounts, they don't remember why they even made one to begin with. It's changed.
Well, everybody else has one.
We can leave it at that. That is a very, very perfect place to leave the podcast tonight.
Happy holiday.
Good night, everybody. Have a happy new year.
The gift that keeps on giving.